a Conversando con la Mary Juana, el podcast que te acerca a la magia de lo cotidiano, celebrando a mujeres que, aunque ordinarias, son pura chispa extraordinaria. Today we have Rebecca, and thank you for being here. Basically, the intro was welcome to the show. I like to highlight the story or her story of ordinary women and their little extraordinary lives. Which is like the heart of the show, because I think that our lives are very extraordinary, and we tend to compare with everything that we see on social media. And I think that's important that we have outlets that show that your ordinary life is great, and it's just about highlighting those moments that make it great. So to take it off, can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
My name is Rebecca. I work at a tattoo shop. I've been a body piercer for almost 7 years. But I'm also in school for archaeology, so two very different things. I have my associates already, and I have about a year left of my bachelor's.
High five! I have a year left on my bachelor's as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, I took a long break from school.
I took a break too, yeah. I'm barely going back this fall.
Yeah, I think that's one of the important things for me to talk about all the time. Education is important, and you should always get educated. And I think that your greatest act of activism is to be educated. But also, I think that it's important to normalize that you can take a break from school and it's okay. You can go at your own pace, and if you feel lost or if it's just not the moment, it's okay to take a break and resume whenever you are ready. So how does it feel for you to come in at a different point in your life after taking a break from school?
It's crazy because, like, I didn't even take that long of a break from school, but I was a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
I think we worked together the last time I was in school.
Yes, yeah. I remember seeing you take your courses in the lunch break whenever you had
to. And I was 21 when we worked together, and I took a break because all of a sudden 4 people in my family, no one I was close to, but still it happened. 4 people in my family died, all one right after another.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's just way too much going on right now.
It sounds very traumatic.
Yeah, and it's again, it was no one I was really close to. I have a very weird relationship with death.
Mm-hmm. Same. It's one of the things that I really loved about you, because I think that we're both okay with the knowledge of death.
Yes. So I spent a long time being really, 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 really scared of death.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went, I think it helped because my mom never confined us to religion. Yeah. We went to youth group because but she always made it clear she just wanted a night without kids and we were safe at youth group. Yeah. She never gave a shit what we believed in. Yeah. As long as we weren't trying to get into anything that could get us hurt. Yeah. Because she had her own bad experiences with black magic in the 90s. So she was like, just don't do that. And we're good. Yeah. So, we went to church when I was a kid, but when I was in middle school, we started going to sweat lodge because, like I said, my family in the South is all native. Yeah. My great grandpa, he is not my biological great grandpa, but he raised my grandma and all of her siblings, and he's Cherokee, full Cherokee. Yeah. And so it's part of my family's culture. Of the family, yeah. So we started going to sweat lodge when I was in middle school, and it changed the game for me in my head, because the first death I experienced was my grandpa when I was 9, and he had cancer. He was sick. And it was crazier because I had to watch him get sick, and I didn't know what to do with that because he had a very Catholic funeral and he was in the military, and my brain was just all over the place. Yeah. And I had been going to church, and I was like, Grandpa was married twice, he's gonna go to hell. Oh no. And I was losing it. And then right around the time that I started going to sweat lodge, late elementary school, early middle school, we were learning about Egyptian stuff in school, and that show House of Anubis was coming on. Okay. This was 2010, I think. Yeah. Dang, so that was more early 5th grade, I think. 4th grade. Someone? Oh, but it was coming on, and they painted Anubis to be this like evil figure.
Yeah,
this evil like damning god, and I was like, I remember watching it, and I was thinking like, that doesn't feel like that's what that really is all about.
Yeah,
and so little me went and researched Wikipedia and back on the family computer in the living room. And I wrote a 13-page essay on the Egyptian gods and their death rites.
Love
and
that.
I was like 10.
This is what I'm gonna do when I grow up.
I was like 10, and I gave it to my teacher, and she was like, I didn't assign this. And I was like, I know, but I needed to show
like,
somebody.
Who do I give it to? A teacher.
And I passed history that year.
Yay.
And every year since.
Yeah.
But that like learning about Egyptian death rites and how like you're never considered alone when you die, and the afterlife is all just part of the cycle of life, whether you be reincarnated or not, whether somebody deserves a horrible afterlife or not, they will get whatever their soul needs to prosper until it eventually can rest.
Yeah, that sounds almost related to the Aztec like belief of death in a way, where you're always accompanied by they're called Xoloscuincles, the dogs, the big black hairless dogs.
It's the same in Egyptian mythology. It's the Anubis dogs.
Whoa. I think that like in old civilization, maybe there was some type of communication between Egyptians and Aztecs.
Okay, so here's the thing. Piggyback on this. This is crazy. So I'm an archaeology major. I study archaeologists. I've been in school for archaeology since I was 15, off and on. And like this has been my passion since I was a little kid. I wanted to be an archaeologist. And there's something called pseudo-archaeologists, how we call like pseudoscientists.
Okay.
Sometimes they find some really good shit that the government does not want people to know about.
Right.
So like they get called pseudo-archaeologists, and they get like discredited and stuff like that. Well, there's evidence in the Grand Canyon, right? How we have Pangea and how it would all line up, right? There's evidence in the Grand Canyon of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs.
And it's like
it's
not
in the part of the Grand Canyon that we're not allowed to go to. Only scientists are.
Yeah.
And it's blocked off.
Yeah.
And you could look it up. It's there.
Yeah.
But like they really try to hide it.
Yeah.
Because it would disprove like 90% of what we believe as history.
Of course.
Yeah. Because all the like one thing that was described to me in my degree is like kind of like we only know like 5 to 10% of what happened, and we're just making guesses based on how people act today.
Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck was happening back then?
Literally, no one has.
There could have been magic and dragons for all we know, and we just couldn't tell.
Yeah, right. Also, like it's so crazy. Like big civilizations just disappear out of
thin air.
Yeah.
Out of thin air.
Like where'd you go to? But yeah, history is definitely crazy in that way. And also like I've just been to so many. There's only 2 places where you have pyramids in Mexico
and Egypt.
And the more because I will say, like, if you're gonna go to a hike and explore like an archaeological zone where there's pyramids, hire a tourist guy or a tour guide, because you want to know the history, you want to know the information that they have, that they've gone to school to share with you, because then you can make connections from other things that you've learned. Like in one of them, they were talking about this rocket ship, because I think it's crazy how like these, what are they called? The little pictures. I know the word hieroglyphs. I was like, how do you pronounce it? But yeah, these hieroglyphs, they like draw like rocket ships, and they take trips to space.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
And to me, it's just crazy.
Okay, this is crazy. But when I was in middle school, my brother made me read the Russian Book of Aliens.
Okay.
My brother's super fucking superstitious.
Yeah.
Like, not superstitious.
Conspiracy
he's
theorist.
Such a conspiracy theorist. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I catch him talking about flat Earth. I'm like, dude, come on. We know better.
There's a whole Netflix show called Flat Earth.
No, he doesn't believe it, but he's like, they have valid points.
Christian is the same way. I want to punch him all the time.
David says, my brother David says that it's not that Earth is flat, it's that the part of Earth that we live on is flat. Because we're not allowed to go to the rest of it. Which, like, fucking...
Okay. What are you talking about?
I
guess. But,
I don't know, the pandemic really did one on him.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to have conversations with people who have strong beliefs in different conspiracies because their whole reality is altered.
Shifted.
Yeah. We're not living in the same reality.
I have always said, though, if an apocalypse ever happened, I would find him. He would survive.
Yeah, like he's been training for this.
He's been ready.
That's funny. Well, as a piercer, helping people express themselves, what got you into this job, and what's your favorite part about it?
What got me into it is my brother is a tattoo artist. Mm-hmm. He currently co-owns the shop that I work at. He's been tattooing for like 13 years now. And when I was younger and I went to Sweat Lodge, his mentor was the Sweat Pour, like the leader of the Sweat.
Yeah.
And so I grew up around them, and I grew up around the shop and everything. And his sister was the piercer, and she gave me my first piercings. I had snake bites when I was 14.
Yeah.
And she was the coolest lady ever. Like, she was so cool. We went to ceremonies a lot where we would like essentially be camping spiritually in the woods in the Arroyo Seco like mountain area. And I went skinny dipping with her when I was in middle school, and like she's the coolest lady ever.
Yeah.
I love her, and she just was always. I always wanted to be like that cool, right? And they needed a piercer, and I wanted to learn how to pierce just because I was like, this would be cool to know. And I was freshly 18, and they had a piercer who claimed to know how to pierce, but he didn't really know
what he was doing.
And so he taught me some of the basics. And then when I mentioned that we should probably be using more sterile methods in the shop, he packed up his stuff and left.
He felt intimidated.
So I took like a good 6 months to a year where I just talked to other like experienced piercers and only pierced on my friends because like they needed a piercer at that point, and essentially self-taught while being guided by a lot of really amazing piercers in the industry who were very, very helpful. And
I feel like being such, I think, still taboo and different kind of industry, it seems it might be hard to get into that kind of industry if that's what your interests lie in.
Generally, you would find an apprenticeship. So, like, I did technically find an apprenticeship. It's just my mentor sucked. And unfortunately, it's the same case for a lot of other young piercers, especially female piercers in this industry, because at the end of the day, we're putting somebody's body through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to hurt any more than necessary. And like, I feel like a lot of trad shop piercers have that like, sit down, I'm gonna poke you, and you're gonna pay me and leave.
Like very transactional?
Very transactional, and they tend to be very like kind of aggressive, but it's also because they tend to be using cheaper needles, cheaper jewelry. Cheaper needles are duller. They're not going to cut through the skin as easy. It's going to hurt a lot more.
Yeah. So you go through the apprenticeship, which is how long?
Every piercing apprenticeship is different. In a traditional setting, it's the same as a tattoo apprenticeship would be between 6 months to a year and a half. Whenever your mentor feels you're ready is when it is. But I've seen some apprenticeships even last up to like 6 years.
Wow.
I've seen some tattoo apprenticeships last up to 10 years.
Yeah.
And those are for people who are learning under like some of the most elite tattooers in the industry.
Yeah.
Like there's a girl in Canada and she's only been tattooing on real skin for like a year, but she's been apprenticing under this guy for like 3 years, and she is so good that she beat seasoned artists and got 3rd place at her first convention.
Wow. Well, I guess it talks about her dedication to her art, right?
Yeah.
So after you get all this training, do you legally need like a certification saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So you need your body art operator card, which you get through your health department. In order to get your body art operator card, you have to be working at a shop or at some facility that has the legal capacity to sign off on it.
Okay.
So basically, like when I got my license, I went down to the health department and they called the owner of the shop that I was working at. At the time, it wasn't my brother; it was somebody else.
Yeah.
And basically they said, "Hey, she works for you," and he said, "Yeah, she's good to go."
Yeah.
And they let me do it. And
Nice.
it's like when you first get it, it's like a $300 fee, $400 fee, and then every county is different.
Yeah.
But and then now the renewals. Oh my god, my renewals due this month. They are I think like 180 at most right now for the renewal. It's not too bad.
Yeah. And is this like your full-time job, or do you think that if you are going to be looking into this industry to like work, is it more like a side gig? Is it something that can pay the bills? What's your opinion?
It is definitely something that you have to be dedicated to. There's a lot of like piercers in the industry who feel like a lot of tattooers learn how to pierce to make extra income at their shops. But there's a lot of anatomy and a lot of things that can go wrong in a piercing if you don't take the time and patience to properly educate yourself, and you can really hurt somebody. So
have you ever hurt anybody? We won't tell anyone.
I mean, yeah, but I've been doing this for almost 7 years now, so it hasn't been in a long time. But it happens every once in a while. We're all human beings,
of course.
You know, some of my first piercings, I feel like I don't think I've ever messed up on like a client that wasn't like my friend. So at least it was that.
Yeah,
you know,
you're like, at least it was someone I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
Well, I think that when you're first starting and you like make it known, people would probably understand and they're held somewhat accountable, right? For like
yeah, and like, well, you sign a waiver.
Yeah, exactly. It's a two people thing. I love it.
Yeah.
So people get piercings and tattoos for like many personal reasons, as we were talking about earlier. What do you think draws them to this kind of self-expression?
Humans have always dealt with things through pain. And like some therapists would say that it's a form of self-harm. My therapist is covered in tattoos. So, you know.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care. It's a healthy form of self-harm if it is self-harm. Humans need outlets.
Yes.
And there are certain pheromones that are released when we put our bodies through pain. Why do you think people do suspension? Or they do BDSM, or they do shibari. They get all up in the rope play. Like, all of those things are because people crave different sensory exploitations.
Yes.
That's just how humans are. And not everything is going to be a sexual thing.
Yeah.
It's all about self-exploration and making people feel more comfortable in their bodies. Like, I always hated my nose. My sister always made fun of my nose because we're Dutch. This is a very Dutch. I have the like long Dutch
very
nose,
white nose.
Very white nose. And she always called my nose a slide. And I like was so ashamed of my nose. Like, I was so insecure about my nose. And I got a piercing on it when I was 15, and I was like, I kind of like this. And then when I was 19, I got the other two.
Yeah.
And now I don't hate my nose.
Yeah, I love this for you. Well, my degrees are in psychology, and I've got one more year to finish my BA. And one of the things that I've learned And every time I hear it in conversations, I'm like, oh, you're right. The impact and importance words have in shaping our thinking about ourselves is so, so powerful. Because I could be telling you a negative comment about yourself that I might not think is important. And the fact that I'm doing it so often hurts you in the way that you're like, I hate this because this is what I have, because someone is constantly telling you, and then your brain believes it because availability heuristics, which is like a shortcut to our thinking. um it's literally not your fault, but the person for like just drilling this about you into you. Because once you step away from the situation and, well, heal and find ways to embrace what you didn't like before, I think that it gives you a certain kind of confidence where you could feel the healing and you're like, I love this about me now, and you own it. And I did the same thing with my feet. I hated my feet. I don't know why. I always thought like I had big toes, and for whatever reason, stop looking at my feet now. Like for whatever reason, I just hated them. I thought they were too fat. And then I started taking yoga, and it was a practice where I had to look at my feet constantly. But it was a practice that I would take at like 6 in the morning where I was like half asleep. And so it really spoke to my subconscious, and so it was very being mindful and being present and whatever. And I started to notice my feet, and I started to say like, oh, you're actually not that bad. And you would look great with a tattoo. You know what I mean?
Why do you think I have so many?
Exactly. I think that if you do think about self-expression as self-harming, then there's work to be done in your thinking process as to what's allowed to be creative. Because you can be creative with anything. You could be creative in dialogue, in film, in drawing, writing, in rolling weed, and you could be a master in anything, and you can express however you like. And I think that the people that choose to express on themselves are the boldest and more confident to just be themselves, because you're expressing like, this is me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do any of your tattoos have special meaning or like deeper story that you like to share with us?
I have a lot. So my whole theme for my body is duality.
Okay.
So I have a color arm, a black and gray arm. My torso on the front is black and gray, and this rib is black and gray. This rib is in color, and my back will be in color. And then, so opposites. So since this arm is black and gray, this leg is color. And then, no, yeah. This one is black and gray.
Yes.
So opposites, and then this one is color. Yeah, my brain.
I see it. No, I see it.
Yeah.
Like color, no color, then no color. Yeah.
So it's kind of like opposites, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have the 7 deadly sins on my chest right here, and I have them overlooking the underworld kind of right here.
And this dude, the detail, it looks so real.
Yeah. Raul at Wave Street. He's one of the owners.
Shout out.
In Monterey. He's so talented.
Yeah.
We call him the wizard.
I love it.
Most of this was Sharpied on by him. He didn't do my chest. He did everything else. My chest was done by Sarah at Wholehearted in Monterey. Also a sweet angel. I love her. But that I have. So I have the 7 deadly sins overlooking the underworld, and then I'm gonna do on my back. I don't know quite yet. I think I might do Ceridwen from Celtic mythology.
Okay.
I try and
what? Enlighten us. Who is they?
She's like a water, like a well goddess. Okay. Magic women. That kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember all the details on her. But she's like a tall blonde lady with pretty, and she's usually depicted like as like a keeper of wells, and like women and witches communicate through wells and water and mirrors.
Got it. Yeah. She's like
yeah.
goddess.
But then I also thought about Persephone because she is quite literally the entire embodiment of duality.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. But I have an ocean theme on my leg. So I have a pretty mermaid right here, and then I have a siren right here, in black and gray. And then I actually traveled to get this one. I went to Ireland right here, and I got tattooed by his name is Santi Board, and he's from
Uruguay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I got yelled at for saying that wrong too many times, so
I learned my lesson.
Yeah. But I think he's in Germany now. He's a traveling tattoo artist. Yeah. And I was traveling over there to go see the historical sites when I was 19.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to get tattooed while I'm here. Yeah. And Isnard Barbosa is like an amazing tattoo artist who owns Legendary Tattoo, and he happened to be there whenever I was passing through. So
that is coincidence. I love these experiences for you. You're well traveled.
I've been to 4 countries.
Okay. Which are?
I've been to Ireland. I would love to move there. Most of my family is from there.
I've seen pictures and it looks does it look the same?
It's gorgeous. It's better. It's gorgeous, and it's honestly, I've never had anything but amazing experiences there. And like, granted, every country has their downfalls. Everywhere in the world has a downfall to something, but I don't know. I've never felt like the only time I've ever walked through a bar full of drunk men and not felt scared was in an Irish bar in Dublin.
Okay.
Surprisingly, because I was like right by the university, but they were all so nice.
How much do you think is like a trip to Ireland?
I've paid the max I've ever paid for. I've been there twice.
Okay.
The max I've ever paid for a flight was $700 round trip from San Francisco.
That's not too bad.
And usually you can find them for as low as like $500.
Yeah.
It's very affordable.
Yeah.
And then I paid.
That's really affordable. It's like people don't know about traveling. Like $700, $500 is like
very
round
cheap.
trip.
That's like cheaper than going to Texas.
And if you have your like luggage included, even better.
It is. It's luggage included, and it's on Ireland's airline. Yeah. So it's like I love Aer Lingus. I've only ever flown to Ireland with their airline. Yeah. I feel like that's the logical thing to do.
Of course.
But I don't know. I really love it over there. Yeah. So we spent like $400, $300 on 5 nighs for an Airbnb. So super cheap.
That's not bad.
And we were like right by the city center. It was like a $10 to $20 Uber taxi, whatever, to the city center every day, which isn't bad when you're on vacation. I went with...
It could be $40, $60, $80 if you're in like San Diego or San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like if it's $10, $20, it's not bad.
I went with $2,000. I spent $700 on my tattoo, and I came home with $500.
Okay.
And we went out to eat every day. We went to the museums, the zoos, all of that. Most of that's either free or cheap there, like dirt cheap. Yeah. Because they want people to be educated in places like that.
Right. They don't want to keep knowledge.
The only place I've ever seen a zoo where the monkey enclosure is hip height is in Dublin. That's crazy. Yeah. Because their kids are absolutely insane.
All kids are.
I know, but like they're so scared of their moms there. I think. I watched an Irish mom. Her son was crying in the bookstore. Yeah, because he wanted a book, and she looked at him and set him down on the ground and walked away. And he goes, "No!" and ran after her. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I mean, that would be traumatizing.
I mean, but she didn't say a word. She just looked at him like, you know what you did.
How does having so many tattoos yourself help you understand your clients and your work as a piercer?
I've been through pain.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like the physical pain, yeah, but also like, I think it teaches. I mean, my work in the tattoo shop in general teaches me how to communicate with people. Like all different kinds of people. I have to be prepared to pierce literally anybody who may come through the tattoo shop doors.
Yeah.
And I've seen many different kinds of people in my day.
Yeah.
Most amazing. But you get a lot of different kinds of things. I had somebody come in one time and she was like, I have $300. Give me as many piercings as you can. And I was like, girl, what happened? What are we going through? Let's talk right now. You know, like, we become kind of like mini therapists for a little bit in a way. And like my brother was always about that when he became a tattoo artist. Was like, it's supposed to be a conversation. You're not supposed to, like, nowadays you walk into a shop and you see like everybody with their headphones on, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. You're working on a big piece. Get in your zone when you need to get in your zone. But don't forget to make an impression on your client.
True. I think that that's very important. You know, like, don't be cold about
Even
the
if
situation, because it's very intimate. You know, like, you're allowing this person to get so close to you.
Like, people are already putting their bodies up in a vulnerable position. And like, there's so many like horror stories of tattoo shops and stuff like that I feel like it's just, my brother has always been about changing the stigma. Everybody who comes into our shop, he wants them to feel like family. And like, that's something that Larry, the original owner back when it was called Indian Ink, the native man, that he always instilled. Like, you never let anybody walk out the door. Like, you make sure that everybody feels welcomed. Like, that's just how it's always been.
Yeah.
It's crazy these days. Crazy.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, I know that you're a big reader. What is the latest you've read?
Oh my god, I've been on such a bad reading slump.
Same. I like read a good book and then I'm like, I can't find anything that's gonna match this right now.
Okay, so the most recent one that I did read was Dark Moment. My cat passed in February, my childhood cat.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's really hard. It like destroyed me, but she was ready to go. And she was sick for a long time. Yeah. So it was time. But I had like a spiritual medium conversation animal communicator before she died.
Yeah.
And I feel like it made me come to peace with it a lot more.
I love that. Yeah.
Because I was going to be a wreck. I could tell. So I'm really glad that I did that.
Yeah. What was the experience like?
It was insane because she didn't really know anything about my cat, but she was like on point.
It's crazy.
And she said that she had been sick for a long time, that she had been ready to go, and because she had the kind of cancer that wasn't just going to kill her, we had to make the decision to put her down, and she was looking miserable.
Yeah.
And so the medium basically said that she hasn't even really been in her body. Like, she's been borrowing the bodies of other animals to like walk around. Yeah. She's just not feeling it. Oh. And that she wouldn't be gone for long because she would come back in the form of a cat who looked just like her but had tabby where the black was, because my cat was tuxedo. And it would be on or around my birthday. And like that I took with a grain of salt, you know, witchy woo woo. But it's crazy because my mom told me not to get rid of the litter box enclosure that I have, because she was like, you're always a cat person. You're going to get another cat soon, right? Yeah. So right when I had told my mom, like, it had been months, it was May, I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to get rid of it. Like, I don't foresee myself getting a cat. Yeah. Because she said it would be on or around my birthday, and I was like, my birthday has come and passed. That was March 1st. Yeah. And
happy late birthday.
Thank you. And the next day, my friend texted me. She's a PAC at a doctor's office in Greenfield. And she texted me because her coworker, her cat had kittens. Yeah. And sent me a picture of them. One of them looked exactly like my cat, but had tabby where the black was. Yeah. And
turn this off because I feel like the butt is always not so great. I don't know.
The bottom.
Yeah, it might like
it's
too extra.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I don't know. I always have a preference.
Like, you've always done that though.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I don't know. It starts tasting bad.
Yeah. But circling back, I was going through all of that, recently, yeah, I have that kitten now. But I was going through all of that shortly right after she died, and I was trying to get my mind off of it, so I was like, I need to read something, like anything. Like I knew my brain could absorb something because it wanted a distraction.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing this book at Target that was called My Funny Demon Valentine, and I love me a good fantasy romance.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? It was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
And I started reading it, and I did not put that shit down for 24 hours. It was so good.
I love good reads like
it was
that.
so funny.
Yeah.
It was so good. Basically, it's like 4 demons from hell are tired of being forced to be bad guys.
Okay, we're
mad
because we're bad.
Pretty much. They're like, I don't want you to tell me what to do anymore. So they come up to like Earth, but they're like Earthside, but they're like, I think it's Montreal that it's set in or some shit like that. I don't know, somewhere in Canada.
Yeah.
But they're in like a club, and this girl is playing the piano. Well, one of the main guy from the first book is Asmodeus, however you want to say it, the demon of lust.
Okay.
This demon.
I have a reference.
This guy right here. But the first book is him, except he was cursed by a witch like 2,000 years ago, where no woman can perceive him, or nobody who would ever find him sexually attractive could perceive him. Like, to them, he looks as attractive as a jar of dirt. Like,
yeah,
it's so like he's been cursed, right? Well, she's playing piano. The main girl from the first book is playing piano, and she can see him. And she like recognizes him. She's like, "Oh, I saw you from the stage," and he's like, "That hasn't happened in 2,000 years." And so like that's and it's such a funny, cutesy little like lighthearted read.
Yeah. So do they end up like falling in love? Yeah.
Yeah. There's like 2 more books out, and I think there's like 2 more coming. I'm pretty excited. I haven't read the second one yet, but it's sitting on my shelf. I've been in a slump. I need to read it because clearly it's probably gonna work.
Yeah. I love good reads like that, when you like find something that you truly, truly love, because sometimes it's hard to come by. Is there a book or a writer that really changed how you see things?
Ellen Hopkins. She was my favorite author as a teenager. She's still one of my favorite authors. I love her. She writes her books in a poetry format, so they look like there's a lot more pages than there is. It'll be like 900 pages in a book, but there's going to be like 20 words on a page. Because it'll say things like full sentence form, but then if you look at like highlighted things, it'll say like hidden messages. And a lot of her books were about like teenagers going through really fucked up things. And I was a severely depressed and suicidal 15-year-old. Like I dropped out of high school at 15 because I told my mom, I'm either gonna drop out of high school or kill myself. You pick.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. I ended up going to independent studies and
that was
going to college,
better.
and it changed my life for the better. But you know, like all of that.
Yeah, independent studies, you mean like homeschooling?
Yeah, so I had a teacher that I met with once a week.
Yeah.
And she would collect my homework and I would give her new homework. And then through them they let me go to Hartnell. Yeah. So I took 2 Hartnell classes-ish.
I love having this conversation with you right now because I'm thinking about homeschooling my child. And it's good to know the perspective, you know, because she's still not like school aged, but I'm debating it.
I will say I wouldn't do homeschooling until like high school. Because like kids need socialization. It's been proven in statistically the highest educated countries in the world, like Finland, Sweden, those kinds of countries. They prioritize recess just as much as they prioritize classroom time in their school systems. And they have a much higher rate of happiness and educational success because of that. But
school in America,
is horrible.
Though.
Exactly. So my point being is, if you do put her in real school, just be picky. be super selective.
Yeah.
My mom is actually the board president for a charter school.
Yeah.
And it's really catered towards very, very individual learning.
Yeah.
Like small classrooms and all that. And my nephew goes there. He's autistic.
Yeah.
And he was having a really hard time before, and now he's thriving. So.
My sister works with autistic kids, and I definitely understand the importance of them getting the help that they need, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But I do think that if I stay in the, like, politically,
girl, I'm right there with you.
It's
oh my god, I'm about to leave with my friend.
Yeah, it's very uncertain, you know, and I think that, well, at this point, my plans are, you know, complete my BA in psychology and then do a master's in education to be able to create curriculum for her and use moments of socialization in a way that is kind of adult supervised by someone that I trust, which is me. I think by taking her to like playgrounds and interacting with other kids or museums or
no, yeah, I feel like a lot of people homeschool their kids, but then they never let their kids leave the house. It's about finding that balance.
Yes. And I don't know if you've heard about these like outdoor school situation things. I think that would be nice. You know, I feel like when you put humans in a space for so long and you just,
it becomes a circus.
Yes. And you have to like let it brew organically. You can't interrupt the cycle of the hierarchy or whatever systems of powers are.
It's just so weird. It's so weird.
And that starts really, really, really early on. And because you're not just like worried about learning, you're worried about fitting in. And
there's so many other things to worry about. See, that's what I liked about, because like when I started doing independent studies, I was like in high school, but it was like halfway through sophomore year. It was right around the age where like it just starts getting dog in high school, and I was like, absolutely not. I was so tired of it.
This is not for me.
I was so depressed. Like it was not okay. Like
yeah.
And like I watched my sister be depressed when she was my age at that point, but she was older than me. She was 20.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like I can't do this.
Yeah.
So my cousin had done independent studies in high school because she I don't know, I think she wanted to work. And so she did it just for senior year because she wanted to graduate early. And so I went to the same one, which was just through the Board of Education.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting and definitely very helpful feedback to add to my decision making for what to do with my child's education. God, that's like the hardest. Like you're in charge of this tiny human education, you know, it's up to you to make their world.
My nephew was doing horrible at his old school. Like, and then my sister got him into his new school, which used to be a bad school. And she said that through the school, he sees a psychologist twice a week. And dude, he's like a whole new kid.
Oh,
he's so calm.
Yeah.
He's so like communicative. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister works in ABA and they work on like identifying behaviors and like trying to figure out what's like the root of them and giving them tools to kind of soothe themselves with. I think it's important to normalize that our brains are just, you know, not the same and they work different and we all deserve a space in the world that we live in. For someone who wants to learn more about like mythology or witchcraft, where would you suggest they begin?
Oh, educate yourself on the historical texts first. Don't like jump into witchcraft trying to conjure a god. You're talking that's not how it works. That is not how it works.
Does
and
that
like
happen a lot?
yeah, I feel like a lot of like we have so much mysticism in our like media that like don't get me wrong, there's some serious crazy ass witches out there that are capable of some shit.
Yeah.
But not everybody has to be like that, and that's okay. Your connection with your higher power is your connection with your higher power.
Yeah.
Don't confine yourself to it. I didn't start I don't call it see like I don't worship any gods. I
I just like to know about them.
Well, no, like I don't like. I don't know. I feel like worship has such a negative connotation.
Okay,
but I feel like they are definitely what I consider like my higher powers.
Yeah.
Or like I pray to them.
Yeah, you
and
interact.
seek guidance. I interact with them.
Yeah.
I work with them.
I think that is the great word to use. I work with them.
Yes. So I work with them, but like I don't like. I didn't do that until I educated myself on what kind of gods that I was trying to get myself into. I'm not going to be a white woman with Irish and Norse descents going to go try and get into Haitian voodoo. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to end up cursed. No afterlife, just eternal agony.
Yeah.
No. So like I took the time to educate myself. Yeah, I educated myself and like you're not always going to work with the same gods forever, especially if you're a polytheistic pagan. I'm a polytheistic pagan. I believe in multiple denominations and multiple gods. So, like, my primary ones, I have my Anubis. That's why I have the Anubis tattooed over here. I've been working with him since I was probably, like, 9 when I did that essay, because that was probably all him.
Yeah.
But, physically and actively since I was 18.
Yeah.
And then this is Freya from Norse mythology. I've been working with her since I was 19, 20. And there's a few other gods that I work with here and there. They're the primary ones. And I've just always felt connected to them.
Yeah.
And I do research. I make sure that I'm connecting with them in the ways that are respectful to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to a cemetery and do something when I'm working with a death god and not make sure I'm leaving an offering or something like that at the gate, because there are rules that apply. Don't break people's rules, baby witches.
Like, do your research.
Do your research.
Know your rituals.
Know your rituals. Don't be making a war jar or a sour tongue spell or any baneful magic without understanding that things come back to you too.
That's hilarious. Well, you like shifting gears again. And
I love it.
Like
my ADHD is loving this.
Yay. Touching on like your family origins, you grew up in a blended family, and we were touching a little bit on this earlier. How do you think that experience shaped who you are today, or even your views in relationships?
Oh, so much. It's kind of, I have like my friends who come to my house all the time and like grew up around my house say that my life is kind of like Shameless. But like not that bad.
Yeah.
But like kind of like that. Because like, so my mom got sober when I was 5. 5? Yeah, 5. But she was on hard drugs. My dad, physically abusive. He's a horrible person.
Yeah.
But one of my first memories was him choking my mom against a wall after we had ran from him and he found us. And we hid in the local drug dealer's bathtub because he protected kids.
Yeah.
And he went to go handle that. And my dad went to prison. Not for very long. Whatever. I don't talk to him. But after that, my mom, like, so my brothers are Filipino and Arabic. My mom wasn't
an interesting
sober.
Blend.
Yeah. So one of them, his dad is from the Philippines, and one of them, his dad is from Yemen.
Okay.
And so his dad that's from Yemen.
Your mom was very international.
Yes, she was. She was living her best life.
I love that for her.
She followed Sammy Hagar on tour in the 80s.
I don't know who they are. Enlighten me.
He's like a rocker.
Okay.
A rocker guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my first concert was when I was like 6. Like,
yeah.
like we all like that was my mom's best friend growing up was a photographer, and she photographed like hair metal bands. So like Def Leppard, all of those. So, like I've seen all of them.
Do you think that influenced on how much you like concerts yourself?
Oh yes, I love concerts. I love concerts so much. But like all of that blended everything. Like, cause my mom was so all over the place. In the most loving way.
Yeah.
She was so all over the place. And so my brother, David, who I work with, he did a lot of the raising me. He's 8 years and 1 day older than me.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 1 day apart, both born during leap year. He's the day before leap day, I'm the day after leap day. Crazy. But we have almost the exact same zodiac chart too. It's crazy.
Like you're almost the same person.
It's insane. But him and I are really close, and he did a lot of the raising me, and so, and he's my Filipino brother, and like he was a skater kid. He sold weed in 6th grade. Like there was not like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was raised at the skate park. Like,
like my best memories.
I was around like a bunch of different cultures and a bunch of different people, and like I feel like it made it such a difference, like confining. Like I was saying earlier, like being around like when I traveled to the South to go visit my cousins out there. Yeah. Like and like being around my ex's white ass family, like I was like, this is so different. This is so crazy. Cause like my brothers are that, but my mom's sister, my aunt, she only has one sister that has kids. My aunt's husband is Japanese. Yeah. And German. His mom is from Germany and his dad is Japanese.
So
like all over the place. Yeah. The whole family, you know? And then my family in the South is native. So it's like America. A melting pot. So I feel like it's like impossible to like have a prejudice. Yeah. Like I can say that my brother's an asshole, but it's not because he's brown. Yeah. He's just an asshole.
I mean it. What were some of the good parts and tough parts of being in a blended family?
I mean, like, you're never alone, which is good and bad. Because, like, you never have alone time whatsoever. You never get to have freedom. I shared a room with Chloe until I was, like, until she got pregnant. Yeah. Like, when she was 19 and I was, like, 15. Like, I shared a room with her my whole life, and my brothers all shared a room. 3 sweaty teenage boys in a room.
The smell.
It was horrible. And like I'm in that bedroom now as an adult because my mom lives in the same house and this economy is trash. Yeah. And I'm like, how did they do this? Because I barely fit in here.
Yeah.
Like
right?
What the fuck? Anyways, but like
I didn't know I needed a bigger place till I birthed my child.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean you need toys?
And now look at you, 2 kitchens.
Dude, every time I clean up her kitchen, I'm like, why do I have to clean up 2 kitchens? Yep. Look at me. But it's great. Help. Just kidding.
But I mean, like, it has its good and its bad things. Because, like, siblings fight.
All the time.
Oh, all the time.
It's normal.
Every time I meet somebody who's an only child, you can so tell that they're an only child. Oh my god. They've just got this, like,
confidence in them.
Like nobody's ever, like, called you, like, names, have they?
No one's ever bullied you.
Yeah. Nobody's ever locked you in a box. Like,
right? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Like my toddler bosses me around and I'm like, dude, chill. I will comply gladly as long as it's not dangerous for you. Whatever you need, I am here for it. You want to explore sensory stuff, you want to, put water in your food, I'm here for it. Just, chill, don't scream at me. Right? Just calm down. I'm down for whatever you're down. As long as you don't try to kill yourself. Although she broke her leg going down the slide, so
kids are pliable. she'll be fine.
Exactly. She's great now. You know, it took like a month to heal.
Yeah, kids' bones are like Play-Doh when
Yeah,
they're young.
yeah. They're not like fully bone and like. I mean, if you're gonna break as a human, you better do it when
Do
you're
it
a
when you're little.
toddler.
Your bones won't have that residual crack in them. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll heal like that. Plus, you know, you're gonna be catered to anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least someone will take care of you.
Right? Like you have to at that point. Do you feel like your blended family background made you more open-minded?
Yes.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
better at handling new situations?
Yes. Because, like, I don't know. Like, I just grew up seeing so many different cultures. So, like, to me, it's mind boggling to not think that somebody deserves human rights, like basic human rights.
Yeah.
Like the right to their own body or, you know, anything like that. Like, that's so crazy to me. Like, my brother's family, my brother, who's Yemeni, his family, like, his dad and his brother died in Yemen during the pandemic.
Oh.
Because Yemen is starving.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean, my grandfather passed because of COVID. You know, COVID was a lot serious.
A lot more serious.
A lot more serious than what we thought, you know?
And, like, it's just, like, I feel like we, as Americans, and also just as people in general, have such a, like, closed-minded perception of things.
Yeah.
And, like, we're, like, only focused on, like, what's right in front of us, which is, like, whatever, but, like, if you don't stop to educate yourself, what are you doing with your life? There's so many other people that exist outside of you.
You are what you feed your brain. And education is very important. And I think that when people talk about education, we think about going to school and like structurized education. And while I think it's a great path to go through, because you find awesome professors and you get to interact and you're just in this environment of knowledge. So I think going to campus or, you know, getting a degree or structurized education for me now is fun. But you can educate yourself in so many different ways. You can, you know, just pick up a book that has something to do with like a fact or a science, you know, learn a new hobby or skill.
Read on a religion, do something. I had a history professor who taught religions of the world. And that was the class that made me for sure that I was going to major in archaeology.
Yeah.
And the first day of class, he said, I teach religion from a historical perspective, not a faith-based perspective. So if you're going to get mad when I tell you that the first pope was likely gay, you don't need to come to class next week.
Yeah.
And the next week, half the class was gone.
Some people...
For the rest of class, though, it was the most informative class I've ever had.
Yeah, I bet, like, eye-opening.
I learned so much, because we learned about religion throughout time. One of the first societies was the Anatolians in modern-day Turkey. They worshipped women. Solely women.
Love.
They only had women goddesses. They only had women in power. Men were soldiers and farmers. That was it. Like, they understood that because women gave birth, that therefore they should be the ones to make the decisions with what happens in the world.
Yeah.
And they thrived for like thousands of years. And the Romans, one of the first societies they bulldozed was Anatolia. Okay. They basically like went over, because the Christian Catholic Bible says destroy all gods before. It never says that there are no other gods. It says destroy all gods before. Yeah. So they destroyed this society over here because they worship women, and this is a patriarchy. And they bulldozed it. There's like barely anything left from Anatolia.
Dude, that's what they did to the Aztec civilization. And prior to that, because there was the Olmec civilization, and it was just so many
Well, even the Aztec name is a standardized version of the name. It's Mexica.
Yes, it is. Most of it will the language that we speak is, well, Spanish is from
because that was because I did most of my history degree in California, so we learned mostly about Mexican history, and Mexico is called Mexico because the original name for Aztec was Mexica, and after the Mexico was called New Spain until the Mexican independence, and then when they regained their independence, they were like,
your history.
"We're gonna take this back."
Yeah, because you're right. It was called La Nueva España, and well, we were colonized for a very long time, and then we got our independence, and then somehow we got tricked into surrendering Texas, Arizona, and California.
Actually, history proves that Mexico went all the way up to the top of California and through to Kansas.
Whoa.
And down and back.
That is a lot more territory than what we think we know.
Because most native people are same genetically as native Mexicans.
Yeah. I mean, we do look alike, kind of. But this was really such a great chat. Before we wrap up, what's something exciting coming up for you, either in your personal life or with your work? Where can people find you if they want to get pierced? Tell us.
Exciting things. I'm going to 2 concerts this year.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Kneecap.
Okay.
The Irish hip hop group. Oh my god, I love them.
Irish hip hop.
Irish hip hop, dude.
I need to look this up.
I will show dude, I love them. Like political anarchy. Ireland's been forced under 800 years of colonialism from England.
Yeah.
My family came here from Ireland, majority. Almost all of my family is from Ireland. And so, from the north part of Ireland, which is still under siege of England, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's still 6 counties. There's that England has control over.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, very messy political situation over there. But they've been fighting 800 years of colonialism. It was punishable by death to speak the Irish language for up until like maybe less than 100 years ago.
That was crazy.
It was only verified as a real language like 3 years ago.
That is crazy to me. Yeah.
So,
like the fact that you impose such violence towards a language,
towards a native people.
Yeah, it's just baffling.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go see Kneecap because they're stirring shit up, and I just really want to see it. I'm so excited. And I'm going to see Suicide Boys later this year. They're playing with Bones. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And then to find me, I work at Selena's Tattoo. I'm there every day except for Wednesday and Thursday. And my Instagram is my name.
Rebecca
L. Wells.
L. Wells. Okay. At Rebecca L. Wells.
Yes.
Well, thanks for being here with us today. It was such a good time. It was nice smoking with you. Well, have a good night.